how long do we have to wait before we're justified in asking what on earth is happening? There's no way any of us can expect 3 incomings in 9 days with outgoings and everything else after we've had 2.5 months of nothing. We're not idiots. We deserve to be told what the hell is happening. Now, I'm not saying we deserve to be told the inner secrets of the football club, but how often are we going to be asked to be patient? How often are we expected to give the benefit of the doubt to owners who quite simply do not give a damn? How often? I ask sincerely, how often? Because history tells us that they aren't going to be the most high spending, to say the least. But that's been acceptable to some, and we've had some success. But nobody is going to convince me that doing zip in this transfer window is somehow going to be more beneficial to Arne Slot than bringing in players. I'm not having it. I'm not going to accept it. It is absolute pony of the highest order. How long does it take to figure out who you want? Why are we waiting for this mad dash at the end of the window? It's insanity. And we don't want the excuses about how difficult it's been or how short a turnaround that there has been. Because here's the thing. Yes, Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes may have only come back to the club, but the scouting network and system has been there all along. Fallows, Hunter, they've all been there. Will Spearman. Why are we again being taken for idiots? What are they doing to justify their existence at the club? Selling young players is not going to benefit us. Bringing in nobody is not going to benefit us. Telling us that you have it in hand with 9 days to go is not fooling anyone. Get the finger out. Show us that you want to win. Show us that the owners genuinely care. Because right now it feels like we're either being asset stripped of youth or that the owners are just trying to bring in as much money as they can for some unknown reason that I can't figure out other than to maybe line the company accounts. I'm not having it. It's absolute nonsense. Yes, we won our opening game. That's great. And we'll win many more. But there is no rhyme or reason to going into a season weaker than you were the season before. And nobody's going to convince me otherwise. Stevie Boy has said, so the revenue from sales should be going to any incomings. If not, why? And what's the story about building a spine for next summer? There's so many contradictory things happening, mate, that don't really line up with what we're being told about, especially putting faith in future young players. So what's the point in going in and bringing in your Bobby Clarks of this world if you're going to just flog them on without really giving them an opportunity to shine? I don't get it. Loan him. Why do we need the 10 million so badly that we have to cash in on Bobby Clark? It doesn't make any sense to me. And like Stevie Boy said, the revenue from those sales should absolutely be going back into player purchases. But it feels like Michael Edwards has a hard-on for unicorns. And what I mean by that is, unless there is some absolute wunderkind who's available for a packet of Smarties and a bag of Monster Munch and is willing to come to Liverpool and doesn't expect first team football and hits all the metrics, we ain't signing them. I'm baffled. Every other club has managed to do good business in this window, or at least business in this window, and we're still being lied to about the future. Still being told that everything is in hand. Trust Edwards, trust Hughes. Sure, the window's not closed yet. It's nearly closed. And again, not one thing. What are we waiting for? We're compounding our problems for next season, said Chris Chan. Exactly, Chris. Exactly. Fans can't keep writing off seasons while the owners keep going through some weird process that in their minds is going to do us a favour. They need to be competitive every goddamn year. And last year we fell away at the end of the season. So it shows us that we don't have strength in depth. And Salah and Virgil and Trent apparently aren't even wanted at the club, if you were to believe the lack of transfer or the lack of contract options given to them. I'm baffled. I'm truly, truly baffled. Liverpool will sign Inacio in the coming days. I don't think they will. I'm not saying we definitely won't sign anyone, but I don't think it's going to be Inacio. I don't think he fits in the structure of the way we play. And again, if it is him, what the fuck are we waiting for? Why are we waiting around for Inacio? Could have had him last year, could have had him in January, could have had him this summer. And sitting around isn't going to get many cheaper as the end of the window comes closer for Sporting, who need to get an option to bring in themselves. They're just going to want more money. So whatever it is that we're trying to figure out, why is it being left so late? Why is it... Or is it just that there isn't anything? That's the thing. Because nobody seems to know. You'll see journalists writing about targets in a vague term, but you don't see one name, not one name of somebody who Liverpool are going after. Not one. But they want your money. Oh, don't forget your £80, £125 for your jerseys, or your season tickets, or the Annie Road End expansion that they've already been repaid some of the money for, but that extra footfall hasn't been put into the transfer kitty. They can't lie to us about the wage bill being overly high because they've freed up £18.5 million a year from that. They've brought in money from sales. So, John, I'm going to ask again, where's the money? Because we're not idiots. Alex McCall said, I'm honestly so sick of this. It would kill your excitement. What clubs don't build? Ours, apparently. And you're right, it would. It would ruin your excitement. It would ruin your anticipation and hope for the upcoming season. It's counterintuitive in my mind, unless your owner just doesn't give a damn. But everyone keeps telling me I'm wrong about that. You know, all the elites who are sitting up there in their ivory towers, who are circle jerking each other off, telling us how great FSG are. Well, what are they doing? What are they doing that is so great right now? Other than fleecing everybody for overly expensive jerseys, merchandise, season tickets in the Annie Road End, hospitality tickets galore. What are they doing that's benefiting the normal Liverpool fan anywhere in the world? I was watching the LFC TV channel earlier on, which I pay £9 a month for, same as everybody else. And the audio was so goddamn bad that I wouldn't even put it out on a YouTube channel. The microphones were peaking every 2 minutes. Pop, 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 pop. Invest money in the right areas, you cheap fuck. It's honestly pathetic. You can't even get your club's TV channel right. Carl said, I've always said FSG would only buy to sell. See, the thing is though, Carl, they haven't even done that, bro. They've just done the selling part. We haven't done the buying part yet. Omar said, United fan from the US, as much as I love seeing Liverpool in the transfer mud, you guys are a top 3 side, as is. A new signing might get you to compete for a title. FSG looks to be writing off debt from their other teams. Omar, obviously I don't understand the intricacies of financing a football club and whatnot. I don't know what's going on at the Red Sox, the Penguins, or any of their other clubs, or franchises, or outlets, or whatever you want to call them. But I do know that they are shockingly poor at supporting Liverpool managers in the transfer market. Shockingly poor. And last season, there was already a gap between Arsenal, City and us. We fell away. City have already brought in a winger. They're about to bring Gundogan back in by the looks of it, and they might do another move in the window. And they have a whole 115 charges headache coming their way. Arsenal, well, they've gone out and brought in a centre-back. They've got more options in that area of the pitch that they were already really strong in. And what have we done? We've gone about asset stripping the centre-back spot, selling Van den Berg off, being apparently willing to sell Gomez off. Matip's departed, so we're going to be left with Kanade, Virgil and Kwanzaa. 3. And even if you haven't done a deal to sell Joe Gomez, you've still pissed him off. You've still told him he's surplus to requirements. Whatever they're doing is absolutely shocking. Like, I thought Chelsea were going to be the masterful club this window at annoying their own players. They've already, by the way, taken Raheem Sterling's number and given it to Pedro Neto. They've taken Chalobah's number as well. What is going on in football? And why is it that there's a certain group of owners who are particularly iffy when it comes to the financial side of running their clubs? I'm done listening to anyone try to convince me that John W. Henry, Tom Werner, Mike Gordon or anybody else gives a damn about us being competitive. You cannot underinvest in your own playing squad and expect to go out there and be better. You can't. I don't care what you think about Arne Slot's coaching. He can't coach an empty bench. He can't coach injured players when we don't have backups to come in. We can't bring through young players from the academy if we're selling them all. What is going on? 9 days, 1 hour and 56 minutes to go. I know people keep thinking that we're this fringe little element of Liverpool fans who are pissed off with the owners, but I promise you, whatever they think, they're underestimating it. Again, our own poll last night, with 4,500 plus votes, 71% said that FSG are not good owners. 71%. But the Echo published poll with YouGov and Bet365, I think it was, showed somehow 69% of Liverpool fans are happy with the owners. That's a very, very selective poll, if that's the answer. Now, I'm open to my poll being very skewed in the opposite direction, of course, as well. But we're not idiots. Demon Jedi Gaming said, controversial opinion here, but how about we just take a step back? Where is the club now compared to when FSG took over? Doing pretty well, right? Yes. No denying that. I'm happy to take a step back for a second. You are 100% correct, my friend, to say that the club is in a far better position now than when they came in. Absolutely. I think that's more than fair. How many times do they want to finish second? How many times do they want to be just a little bit away from more trophy lifts? Because you don't get to the top of the mountain and fall back down the mountain. And we have not looked like defending our league title when we won it, looked like defending our European Cup when we won it, nor have we looked like we've been ambitious in trying to strengthen against what we're up against. Now remember, when they came in, there was a couple of things involved, and mainly it was the top 4, top 5. Now you've got a top 8. You've got Spurs who are more competitive. You've got Villa who are more competitive. Newcastle who are more competitive. So times have changed. Football has changed. And absolutely, they have improved a lot. They have. I'm not going to deny the obvious. But again, that shouldn't be the threshold of we got there, we need to stay there. We need to stay at the mountaintop. We need to continuously invest in the squad. And be realistic about it. Like, I don't know a Liverpool fan who expects 250 million spent every summer net. We're not lunatics. But to do nothing after bringing in a new coach and not back him publicly, to still not have even given an indication of release when the third kit is going out. There's just so many things that are publicly a bad look for these owners. Young players wanting out of the club. Players who we've brought in thinking and being told that they're going to be coached to find a way through to the first team and save money in the long term. Well, they're just being sold on for a profit now, and that profit's not even being reinvested into the playing squad. So, again, my man, I get you. And I am not a hater for the sake of hating. But I'm also not going to have the wool pulled over my eyes every year and continue to fall for it. So the main stand, or the Annie Road end, has already been repaid through that, or almost repaid through that sale that we spoke about yesterday of $100 to $200 million. Redbird Capital and the money that they sold covered a good chunk, I know it was across all of FSG's holdings, of the money they paid for the club. We were told for years that the wage bill was high and that was part of the reason why Liverpool couldn't be competitive, but yet none of us were able to figure that out, because why is our wage bill so high when we don't have ridiculously high earners outside of Salah and 2 others? There's a lot of stuff that we're being asked to take a leap of faith in without any proof. So like I said the other day, do the wages that are so high encompass Hughes' wages, Edwards' wages, and all the other executives at the club? Because we don't know the numbers, because they're all obviously private and confidential. So there are a lot of things that we're being told. We're always quick to be told how great FSG are, how clever they are commercially, how all of this will generate more revenue, the Nike partnerships, the footfall in the Annie Road and the main stand. But how has that helped us on the pitch? Has any of these things over the course of their time at the club improved the spending on transfers? The answer is pretty much no. There's been a steady 40 to 45 million net spend up until last year, where we had a net spend of 90. And that was the biggest in the history of their ownership. And we're a club that's turned over and made 100 million profit in a year before. I believe the first Premier League club to do that. So again, I can take a step back. But they've been here a long time. And they are coasting right now. Turning my back on the club isn't in my DNA. I don't think anyone's suggesting turning your back on the club. It's more about venting our frustration over the ownership. Nobody, and I certainly would never ask anybody to turn their back on the boys or the gaffer. That's different. That's a different conversation. But these owners, these absent owners, don't give a shit. Michael Owens, thank you for your super chat. Said if FSG aren't willing to spend, how did Henry plan on competing in the Super League? Take care, Craig. Love to you and the family, mate. Exactly. But do you know what the great thing about that Super League that he signed up for was? It was a closed shop. Much like American sports where there's no relegation, no promotion. Guaranteed money every single year. Guaranteed. Just money, 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 money. And you don't even have to be overly competitive. That's the dream John was going for. Get into a Super League where you can't be booted out of it pretty much. And there's never ending money coming in. And you don't even have to be particularly fucking competitive. So yeah. Again, I'm just done with it at this point with these owners and their transfer spends. All Red Liverpool channel says wait till January. All Angry Craig says it'll be the same. You'll be told in January that it's not an optimum market. That prices don't reflect good value. There's always the promise. That's I said this at the start of the summer. There's always going to be that lie at the end. The promise, the kicking the can down the road. That I swear it'll be better next window. But it never is. And people still fall for it. Trust the spreadsheet. Haven't you seen Moneyball if it's good enough for Brad Pitt? And to be fair, we did discover Andy Robertson through this type of background work. And I'm not against anything being used in a football club if it gives you an edge. I'm not against AI being used for set pieces. I'm not against the goalkeepers using those view restricted glasses and noise cancelling headphones. I'm not against data. I'm not against I'm not against any of it. Anything that can give you a competitive edge, I'm open for it. Throw-in coaches, whatever it might be. All I am against is being told that the owners want to win when their actions show anything but a desire to go out there and win. That's where I'm angry right now. And that's where I'm angry every window under these owners. Because there's always something left undone. Remember John Achterberg. His own words were if they had have got the Nabil Fekir deal over the line, they wouldn't have had the money to sign Alisson. I didn't say that. An FSGO fan didn't say that. A former employee of the football club who worked and headed the goalkeeping department said, without any hesitation, that if we signed Fekir, the money wouldn't have been there to sign Alisson. So why were we negotiating to sign Fekir? Why did he have all of his photographs taken in the Liverpool kit? I don't know the answer to these questions, but I know it looks stupid. Craig, do you honestly believe that we'll sign a player who will actually play this season? I don't know what's belief and what's hope. I have to believe that something is being worked on. I have to. Because if I don't believe that they're trying to work on something, that puts me in a whole different place mentally with regards to where this club is at. So I have to believe it. But it's getting more and more difficult as we get closer and closer to the end of the window. The window that, as I've said so many times, 3 signings were reported across the board. A defensive midfielder or a number 6, a centre-back and a forward. And we've done nothing except embarrass the club more and have Spanish media mocking that Liverpool can't even go and sign Zubamendi, even though they offered him 3 times the money he was currently on at Sociedad. After Tchouaméni turned us down to go to Real Madrid. After Bellingham ended up at Real Madrid. So we've been promised generational talent. We've been promised we're able to compete in the transfer market. We've had the laughing words come out to say that Liverpool only want to sign their top targets and won't settle for second, third or fourth best. Well, how has that worked out so far in this window? How has that worked out? Only going for the bona fide, improve the team, drop straight into the starting 11. How has it worked out? Because I might have missed something, but I haven't seen one. Not one.